So today we are going to start a new topic. I mean, we are almost done with half of the course where we have seen the starting from architecture to ending with the users and privilege management. So that we will call it as the first half of the Postgres database management. And from today we are going to see the second half of the Postgres database administration, which is very important. So whoever is planning to switch their career to Postgres with 3 plus 4 plus years of experience, you know, this is very the next 10 to 12 classes are there. Those are very important to understand and to face the interviews for the 3 plus or 4 plus of expertise. Okay, so the topic that we are going to discuss today is okay, backups and recovery in Postgres. We are going to see what are all the kinds of backups that are there in the Postgres, and we are also going to see what are all the backup methodologies we have, and what are all the utilities that we are going to use to take the backup of a Postgres database management system. And we will be seeing different backup and restore scenarios which we are going to do it in the real time. So the concepts of backup and recovery in Postgres. What is that? Concepts of backup and recovery in Postgres. Okay. So there are, so you take any of the RDBMS, whether it is Oracle, SQL Server, Postgres, or anything, there are two types of backup methodologies is there. 1 minute. Someone is calling. Hello. Hello. అవునండి. నేను మళ్ళీ కాల్ చేయొచ్చండి, నేను క్లాస్లో ఉన్నాను. So there are two types of backups that are available in Postgres. One is a logical backup. Second one is a physical backup. Okay. So what does it mean by logical backup and what does it mean by physical backup that we are going to see now? So what does it mean by logical backup, right? So logical backup means taking the backup of a logical objects, right? So taking the backup of what? Logical objects. It can be a table, schema, or a database, or it can be anything. You can take a particular object backup using a logical backups. And for taking the logical backups we have different types of utilities that are available. One is pg underscore dump, and second one is pg underscore dump all. These two are the utilities that are available in the Postgres to take the backup of a logical objects. So what does it mean by physical backup? Physical backup is nothing but admin backup in Oracle, where likewise in Postgres also we are going to take the physical structures of a backup. What does it mean by physical structure? We are going to take the entire cluster backup. We are going to take entire cluster. We are going to take the entire cluster backup, and pg underscore base backup is a utility. Okay, pg underscore base backup is a utility which is used to take the backup, okay, which is used to take the backup of in a physical format. So how many types of backups that are there? There are two types of backups that are there. One is a logical backup and second one is a physical backup. So logical backup means we are going to take the backup of a logical objects. It can be a table or it can be a schema or a database. And physical backup means we are going to take a physical structures of a database. Which means we are going to take the entire cluster backup. So pg underscore base backup is a utility which is used to take the backup of a entire physical structures in Postgres. And so this is one of the interview question as well. What are the different types of backups that are available in Postgres, and what are the tools that are used to take the backup? Okay, now so now we are going to see, first we are going to focus for next 3 days. We are going to focus more on the logical backups. Once that is done, for another 2 days we are going to see the physical backups in Postgres. So now, so as I said, like pg underscore dump is a utility which is used to take the backup in logical backup of logical objects, right? So pg underscore dump is a utility which is used to take the backup of a logical object. So pg underscore dump can take the backup in both the formats. One is a plain format and as well as formatted backup. Okay, pgdump has the capability of taking the backups in plain format as well as formatted way. So what does it mean by plain format? When you take the backup in your plain format, so you can open the file. Okay, you can open the file and read the contents. What you can do, you can open the file and you can do what, read the contents. Okay, whereas when you take the backups in a formatted way, it is in a binary format where we can't open and read the contents. So each and everything has its own advantages and disadvantages that we will be discussing in a while. So pgdump has the capability of taking the backups in both plain format and as well as formatted way as well. And one more thing, so using pg underscore dump, we can take backup of a database at a time. We can take backup of one database at a time. We can take backup of one database at a time. So using a pgdump, what we can do, we can take a backup of one database at a time. So let's say my Postgres cluster contain 10 databases. Using pg underscore dump, we cannot take backup of all the databases in a single statement. So at a time, pgdump can take the backup of only one database at a time. And one more point is pgdump doesn't it cannot take can't take backup of global objects. What are the global objects that we have in Postgres? We have users and table spaces. So pgdump cannot take the backup of a global objects which are like users and table spaces. And by default, when you do not specify any format type or any backup type, by default pg underscore dump will take the backup in which format, plain format. Okay, if you don't specify, okay, if you don't specify the format type, the pgdump by default will take the backup in a plain format. So this is briefly about the pg underscore dump. So pg underscore dump is a utility which is used to take the backup of a logical objects, and pg dump can take the backup of single database at a time. Let's say my cluster contains 10 databases. pg dump cannot have the capability of taking backup of all databases together. Okay, pgdump can take the backup in plain format and formatted way, and the default method is a plain method. And pgdump cannot take the backup of a global objects like users table spaces. Okay, now what is, so we discussed about the pgdump. Now we are going to discuss about the pg underscore dumpal. Okay, pg underscore dumpal, it can take backup of global objects, right? Okay, it can take the backup of a global object, which means like users and table spaces. pg dumpal can take backup only in plain format. It can take backup only in plain format. And pg dumpal cannot take backup of a single database. It cannot take backup of single database, which means, so let's say my Postgres cluster contains 10 databases, and all databases can be grouped together or will be taken backup at a single time in using pg underscore dumpal, you cannot take the backup of a particular database. Okay, when you initiate the pg dumpal, it is going to take the backup of all the databases that are available in the Postgres cluster. So this is about pg underscore dumpal. So the one of the most asked interview question would be, what is the difference between pg dump and pg dumpal? So what is the difference between pg dump and pg dumpal? pg dump can take the backup in both plain format as well as formatted backup. pg dumpal can take backup only in plain format. pgdump cannot take the backup of a global object such as users and table spaces, whereas pgdumpall can take the backup of a global objects like users and table spaces. pgdump cannot take backup of all databases at a time, whereas pg underscore dumpall can take the backup of all the databases at a time. So using pgdump, we can take the backup of a particular database, whereas using pg underscore dumpal, we cannot take the backup of a particular database or single database. Okay, this is the fundamental differences between pgdump and pgdumpal. So now, without wasting our time, so we are going to start, okay, checking about pg underscore dump. Okay, okay, so as I said, pg underscore dump can have the capability of taking the backups in both plain format as well as formatted way, but my focus would be more on plain backups. Why I am going to concentrate more on plain backups is, when you take a backup in a plain format, right, so you can open the file and read the content so that you can get more understanding of what is being backed up when we take the backup of a database, what is going to be backed up when we take the backup of a schema, and what are the things that will get backed up when you take the backup of a particular database, like, sorry, particular table, like that. So we have the feasibility of opening a backup file and read the content. So I will be concentrating more on plain backups. Once the plain backups is done, we are going to see about the formatted backups. Okay, so pg underscore dump. So what is the syntax for pg underscore dump? So likewise, so how we will connect to a Postgres database using PSQL? So we are going to use like PSQL hyphen u username hyphen h host name hyphen p port number and hyphen d the database which you want to connect. Likewise, pgdump also can take the following arguments: hyphen u username, hyphen h hostname, hyphen d the database that you want to take the backup, and hyphen p port number. So these are all the things which will be which we need to give it as an input to the pg underscore dump to take the backup of a particular thing. So that we are going to see one by one. So first 2 days we are going to concentrate more on what are all the different options that are available to take the backup. From the third day onwards, we are going to work on the restore methodologies. Okay, 190. So let me connect to the Postgres cluster. Yes, my server is up and running now. Okay, my server is up and running now. Now what I'm going to do, right, I'm going to create one directory so to store the backups. Okay, cd slash user to here I am going to create one directory mkdir backups. Okay, sudo Okay, so now this is the location where I am going to store my backups. Okay, so now what I'm trying to do, right? Let me connect to the Postgres cluster first. So what is the command to list the databases? Slash l. So I have almost 9 databases are there. Let me check the size of each and every database. There is a database database with the name EDW, and it is having a size of like 160, almost like 1.5 GB. So I will take this as an example to take the backup. Okay, slash el plus EDW. So what is the size of this? Almost like 1.5 GB is there. So now what I'll do, right? So first of all, the first command that we are going to see, right? So we have a EDW database. As I said, like for the next two class, I'm going to concentrate more on backups only. I'm least bothering about the restore methodologies. Okay. I want my requirement is I have a EDW database. I want to take the backup of EDW database, and as I said, I'm going to concentrate more on plain backups now. So how can we take pg underscore dump hyphen u username postgres do so hyphen h? Do we need to really use hyphen h? It is not required to use hyphen h, because as we are sitting on the same server in which the postgres database is running, when you do not specify any hyphen h, then it will take localhost by default. So but to understand, I just I'm giving 127.0.0.1. What is it? Does it mean by 127.0.0.1? It is a local host. So if you do not provide hyphen h by default, like PSQL, pgdump also consider this as a local server and it will try to connect locally. But to have the more visibility, just I'm providing hyphen h, which is like 127.0.0.1, which means we are connecting to the local server only. So hyphen p 5432, and which database that you want to take the backup? I want to take the backup of a EDW database, and as I said, when you do not specify any format type, by default pgdump will take the backups in which format? Plain format only. And hyphen f refers to the backup file location, which is like slash u02 backups, and I'm going to take the backup of EDW database, so edw.sql. Now let me open a one more session. Let me go to the backup location. See, the backup file got created. Still, it is taking the backup. So, what is the option to take the backup of a database? So, let's say pg underscore dump hyphen d db backup, and hyphen f is backup file location. Okay, as it is like 1.5 GB, so it is taking more time. I'll try to reduce the size actually. Mhm. The backup is done. So just I'm trying to drop one table to decrease the size, because 1.5 GB means always it takes more time. Okay. Now, so I have taken the backup of EDW database now, right? So let me try to open this backup file and check what is there. It will take more time to open even. So before opening that, so just what I want to tell you, let you know is, so in Postgres each database contains one or more schemas. So whenever you take the backup of a database, all the schemas will be backed up. All the schemas will be what backed up. So and it is going to create the objects which are there in the schema along with the data. So if you see how many schemas we have a edw underscore app schema, and we have a edw underscore one schema. So both the schemas got backed up. Along with that, it is trying to back up the statement, dumping the statements for create table. Once create table statements is done, it is trying to dump the data for the tables. And one more thing that you need to remember is, by default pg underscore dump is going to dump the data in the form of a copy statements. Just remember that. Once that is done, again it is going to take the backup of 1 minute. Again one, it is going to take the backup of what? It is going to take the backup of, like the grants and privileges. We call it as a ACL. Okay, we call it as what? We call it as a ACL, access control list. I mean, it's not okay. So let me do show you the tile -100 f edw.sql. So if you see, once backup of all the tables is done, it is going to dump the privileges for all the tables that are available in the Postgres cluster. Okay, so from this, the point that you need to note down here is, when you take the backup of a database, all the schemas that are available in the database will be backed up, and it is going to dump the statements for creating a, it is going to dump the statements for what? Or 1 minute. It is going to dump the statements for cleaning up. It is going to dump the statements for what? The privileges as well, which we call it as a ACL, which is like access control list. So if you want to take the backup of a database, then you need to use an option called -d. Now the next thing that we are going to discuss is, I have a EDW database. An EDW database contains how many schemas? How can we check whether the database contains how many schemas and all? So let me connect to the EDW database and let me check what is the command to list the schemas that are available in the Postgres cluster. /dn is a command to list the schemas that are available in the Postgres cluster. So I have a EDW underscore app, I have a EDW underscore one, and I have public schema. Okay, now let me check what are the tables that are available in the edw underscore app schema. So /dt edw underscore app dot star. So do we have anything in this table? Select star from edw underscore app dot star. Select star from edw underscore app dot test. Sorry. Okay. Okay. So we have only one table. So my requirement here is, I have in the EDW database, I have three schemas. One is a public schema, second one is EDW underscore one, and third one is EDW underscore app. Now I wanted to take the backup of a EDW underscore app schema. So I have three schemas here. Among these, I wanted to take the backup of a one particular schema, which is like EDW underscore app. So how can we take, right? So -n is an option to take the backup of a schema. -n is an option to take the backup of a schema. So simply specifying a -n will work? No, because we need to specify the database name in which the schema exists. Okay, so because pgdump doesn't have the capability of checking in which database that a particular schema is having. So when you want to take the backup of a particular schema, you need to provide the database details in which the schema exists. Okay, in which the schema exists. So now let me try to take the backup of a schema now. Okay, now so pg underscore dump capital U Postgres -h 192.168.29. Sorry, -h It is a local host, right? So 127.0.0.1 hyphen p5432. Okay, pgdump hyphen u postgres hyphen h 127.0.0.1 hyphen p 5432 and hyphen d. What is the database in which the schema exists? EDW and hyphen n EDW underscore app hyphen f is the file name, which is like slash u02 backups slash EDW underscore app underscore schema dot sql. And one more option that we can do is we can use a verbose hyphen v verbose to. So what verbose will do? Well, verbose will provide the output of a pg dump, or it provides the printing, it prints the progress of a pg dump on the screen. See, it is trying to dump the print everything in the screen. If you see, whenever you try to take the backup of a schema, create schema statement will be backed up. Create, so the statement for the dump, it is going to dump the statements for creating a table, and it is going to dump the statements for data, and it is going to dump the statements for access control list. So what exactly access control list is? Access control list talks about the privileges that are available in the Postgres cluster. Okay, sorry, particular database or schema. Okay, now let me try to open this file and read the contents. EDW underscore app underscore schema dot sql. So first, what has been dumped? It dumped the statements for creating a schema. Then all the tables that are available in the particular schema has been dumped. Once that is done, it is trying to copy the data. Then it is trying to dump the statements for ACL, which is like grants and privileges. Okay, this is how we have to take the backup of a particular schema. So if you want to take the backup of a particular schema, you need to use hyphen n option, and you need to provide the database in which the schema exists. So, and we have seen one more option called hyphen v, which is a verbose, and so the next thing that we are going to discuss is, so I have a EDW database, right? I have a EDW database, and EDW database contains a public schema, EDW underscore one schema, and EDW underscore app schema, right? So these three are the schemas which are there in, like the my Postgres cluster. So now already I have taken the backup of what? EDW underscore taken, EDW underscore app, backup of EDW underscore app is exists. So now what I'm trying to do, right? I'm trying to take the backup of an entire EDW database except EDW underscore app schema. Except what? EDW. Except EDW underscore app schema. I want to take the backup of entire database. So you can, so when you take the backup of an entire EDW database, all the schemas will get backed up, right? Public schema will backed up, EDW underscore one will get backed up, EDW underscore app will back it up. But I don't want to take the backup of a EDW underscore app schema. Now how can we do that? So what is the command to take the backup of a particular schema? Hyphen small n. If you want to exclude a particular schema, then you need to use hyphen capital N. Exclude. If you want to exclude a particular schema, then you need to use what? Hyphen capital N. So now we'll do that. PG underscore dump hyphen capital U Postgres hyphen H
Okay.
127 dot.
Here we can use pg dump all, right? Because two databases are there.
Two data. No, so what we are discussing the PG
Oh,
dump.
schema.
We are trying to
Okay,
take
okay.
the schema backup. 127.0.0.1 hyphen p 5432 hyphen d edw, and I wanted to exclude a particular schema which is called edw underscore app. Okay, hyphen v is for verbose, and hyphen f slash u02 backups slash edw underscore db dot sql. Okay, if you see here, okay, so what we have done, we are trying to take the backup of an entire database, and but we are not. We wanted to include exclude a particular schema called edw underscore app. That is the reason why, if you see, we have mentioned hyphen capital and edw underscore app. If you see here, schema edw one is taken and public is taken. Do you see any statements for dumping up of edw underscore app? No, because we wanted to exclude this by providing providing what, providing hyphen n option. See, if you take create schema statement is dumped, and all the tables that are available in the EW underscore one table will get backed up, and once that is done, we don't see any statements or entries for EW underscore dump EW underscore app, because we wanted to exclude that while taking the backup. Okay, so hyphen capital N is used to take the backup. I to is used to exclude a particular schema from the group of schemas in the database. Now the next option that we are going to see, right? So I have a EDW database. Under that I have a schema called EDW underscore app. Under this it, so this is a database and this is a schema, and under this schema we have a table called test. So now I wanted to take a backup of this table. So how, what is the option that we can use to take the backup of a table is hyphen t. Okay, hyphen small t is used to take the backup of a particular table. So like, so so can you directly specify a table name? Will pgdump will be able to, like, and will pgdump will be able to, get that database and schema details in which the table exists? No, right? So that is the reason why, if you want to take the backup of a table, then you need to provide the database in which the table exists, and you need to, in hyphen t, you need to provide schema name dot table name. So how we can do? So I want to take the backup of particular table, so pg underscore dump hyphen u postgres hyphen h 127.0.0.1 hyphen p 5432 hyphen d, in which database it exists, edw, and hyphen t schema name dot table name edw underscore app dot test, and hyphen f test slash u02 slash backup slash edw underscore app underscore test dot sql. Sorry, what is this? 127.0.0.1. See, this is done. Now let me open this vi space edw underscore test dot sql. Sorry. See, I have taken the backup of a table, and when you take the backup of a table, that statement, the create table statement will be dumped. Once that is done, data will be dumped in the form of copy statements, right? And if we have any ACL, that also will be dumped. But currently there are no ACL for this table, so that is the reason why we don't see any ACL statements in the backup file. Okay, now so this is how you can take the backup of a particular table. So hyphen t, what you need to provide? You need to provide schema name dot table name. Okay, so the next statement that we are going to see, hyphen capital T. Hyphen capital T is used to exclude a particular table. Exclude. Okay, exclude particular table. So and so to explain about the exclude particular table, let me log into the database slash cdw. Now let me check slash dt edw underscore app dot star. So we have only one table here. Let me try to create one more table. Create table training n space varchar of 100. Insert into, sorry, create table. So where this will table will get created? This table will get created in the public schema, but I wanted to create it in the edw underscore app schema training n space varchar of 100. Now insert into dw underscore app dot training values. This is for backup test. 1 minute. The spelling is wrong. Alter table edw underscore app dot training spelling is wrong. So where traing rename to traing. Okay. Now let me try to insert the data. Insert into edw app dot training, and I'm trying to insert the data. Okay. Now select start from edw underscore app dot training. Right. Now how many tables are there? edw underscore app dot star. So we have, like, two tables are there. One is a test table and second one is a training table. Already we have taken the backup of a test table, so we wanted to exclude that particular table while taking the backup of a edw schema. So now what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to take a backup of a schema called edw underscore app. So I'm trying to take the backup of a edw underscore app schema. So this schema contains two table. One is a test and second one is training. So this test table is already backed up, so I wanted to take the backup of a edw underscore app schema, but I wanted to exclude a test table. So how can we do that? How can we do that is pg underscore dump hyphen u postgres hyphen h 127.0.0.1 hyphen p 5432 hyphen d, what is the database name, edw, and hyphen n edw underscore app schema, and I wanted to exclude a particular table called what, test, hyphen f slash u02 backups exclude dot sql, and let me use hyphen v as a verbose. See, when you see that 1 minute, test also taken and training also taken, right? Let me do one thing. 1 minute. Why it has taken the backup of both test and training? It is not supposed to. Okay, hyphen t edw underscore app dot test. If you see only training table is backed up, do you see any entries for the test table? Do you see any entries for the test table? No. So because we have user hyphen capital T option, which is going to exclude the table which we are going to provide along with the hyphen T. So these are all the couple of options that are there, and we have a lot more options which we are yet to explore. In the next class we are going to see the rest of the options which we will use along with the pg underscore dump to take the backup of a logical objects. Okay, so that's it for today, and we'll connect tomorrow again. Any doubts so far?
No worry.
Okay. Yeah. Then we'll connect tomorrow again. Okay. I want you guys to do not, like I mean to say, like, do not skip the classes or do not miss the, try to not miss the classes, because so whatever the next 10 to 12 classes that we are going to discuss, those are very, very, very important. Okay. So the interview question that you can expect so can be, what are the different types of backups that we have in Postgres, and what is the difference between pgdump and pgdumpall. So these two things you need to know. Okay, yeah, we'll connect tomorrow again. Thank you.